First contact gone wrong. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the research vessel Horizon, watching the strange crystalline structures that dotted the surface of Kepler 742b shimmer under its twin suns. After 15 years of interstellar travel, humanity's first deep space research mission had finally reached its destination. The crystalline formations had been detected from Earth, their perfect geometric patterns suggesting artificial origin. Now, seeing them up close, there was no doubt. They were looking at evidence of an advanced civilization. Energy signatures are stable, but I'm detecting some unusual quantum fluctuations, Lieutenant Ash reported from her console. It's like nothing we've seen before. Sarah nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the structures below. The mission brief had been clear: observe, document, and attempt peaceful contact if intelligent life was discovered. But something about those crystals made her uneasy. They seemed to pulse with an inner light that defied conventional physics. Dr. Chen, Captain Torres called from the bridge. We're picking up movement from the surface. Something's rising from the largest formation. Sarah rushed to the main viewport. A massive object was indeed emerging from the crystal structure, smooth, impossibly geometric, and radiating power that made their sensors scramble. It rose with deliberate grace, its surface shifting like liquid metal in impossible patterns. All hands to stations, Torres ordered, his voice steady despite the tension. First contact protocols are in effect. Dr. Chen, you're up. Sarah took her position at the communications array, her heart pounding. Years of training had prepared her for this moment, but nothing could have truly readied her for what happened next. The alien vessel, if that's what it was, suddenly released a pulse of energy that washed over the horizon like a wave. Multiple systems failing, Ashley shouted. Whatever that was, it's disrupting our quantum processors. The ship's lights flickered, and Sarah felt a strange pressure in her mind, like someone, or something, was trying to reach inside her thoughts. Around her, crew members clutched their heads, some crying out in pain. But Sarah noticed something odd. The humans seemed to be resisting whatever this was better than the AI systems. They're scanning us, she realized aloud. Not just our technology. They're trying to read us. The pressure increased, and with it came images, flashes of a vast civilization spanning galaxies, of beings that had transcended physical form, of order imposed across countless worlds. The message was clear. They were being judged. We need to show them we're not a threat, Sarah said through gritted teeth. She began broadcasting the first contact package they'd prepared. Mathematics, music, art, the story of human civilization told through carefully chosen symbols and images. The response was immediate and devastating. The alien vessel released another pulse, this one targeted and precise. Systems throughout the ship began to shut down, and through the viewport, Sarah watched in horror as more crystalline ships rose from the surface. They're not interested in communication, Torres realized grimly. They've made their decision. Sarah's mind raced. The images she'd seen, the way they'd probed their minds, these weren't just advanced aliens. They were self-proclaimed gods who had appointed themselves guardians of the galaxy, determining which species were worthy of joining their cosmic order. And humanity, with its chaotic potential and unpredictable nature, had been deemed a threat. Emergency protocols, Torres commanded. Prepare for immediate quantum jump. But as the Horizon's engines spooled up for the desperate escape attempt, Sarah made a discovery that would change everything. The ship's quantum AI was completely disabled by the alien energy pulse, but the human crew was still functioning. More than that, their brains were somehow naturally resistant to the entity's attempts at control. Captain, she called out, we need to switch to manual systems. Our minds, they're shielded somehow. These beings, they can control technology, but they can't fully access human consciousness. Torres didn't hesitate. Do it. All crews switched to manual override. As crystal ships surrounded them, Sarah worked frantically to reconfigure their systems. Humanity had always prided itself on creating technology that amplified their natural abilities rather than replacing them entirely. Now that philosophy might save their lives and provide the key to resisting these self-proclaimed gods. The horizon shuddered as the first attacks hit their shields, but under manual control, they were already moving, preparing for the jump that would take them back to Earth. They had to warn humanity, had to prepare them for what was coming. But they also carried something precious, the knowledge that humans possessed something unique resonance to the quantum symphony she had begun. They're gathering for a final push, Commander Rodriguez reported through the quantum link. Every crystal ship in the sector is converging on Earth. They know if they lose here, they lose everything. Maya Patel's guerrilla forces had already engaged the enemy's forward elements, using their newfound abilities to turn crystal technology against its corrupted masters. The Exathri and Kelmar fleets moved in concert with human ships, their different technologies harmonizing in ways that would have seemed impossible months ago. But the parasites had one last card to play. From the heart of their fleet emerged something ancient and terrible, a vast crystalline structure that seemed to draw in light itself. The original control node, the first piece of crystal technology they had corrupted, now transformed into a weapon of unimaginable power. They're trying to force a quantum collapse, Sarah realized, her expanded consciousness allowing her to see the true scope of their plan. They'll rewrite the fundamental forces of this entire sector of space, forcing every consciousness into their crystalline pattern. Through the neural network, she felt the fear of her allies. Even with their awakened abilities, how could they stand against such power? But Sarah had learned something crucial about consciousness and reality. Fear itself was just another pattern, one that could be transformed. Everyone, listen. She broadcast across all quantum frequencies. The parasites think they understand the crystal technology because they've spent millennia forcing it to obey them. But we've learned its true nature. Reality isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be experienced, shaped by conscious interaction. They're still trying to impose order. We need to embrace chaos. Across Earth's orbital space, human consciousness began to shift and flow in new patterns. The Exathri added their bioresonance, creating quantum harmonies that had never existed before. Kelmar phase shifters synchronized with human neural patterns, dancing between states of reality that the parasites' rigid order couldn't comprehend. The parasites struck with overwhelming force, their control node unleashing waves of quantum energy designed to overwhelm and convert all consciousness in their path. But instead of fighting back directly, humanity and their allies did something unprecedented. They accepted the energy, let it flow through them, and transformed it. Sarah led the consciousness chorus, showing others how to ride the quantum currents instead of resisting them. Where the parasites sought to impose crystalline perfection, humanity offered something far more powerful, the perfect imperfection of free will, the beautiful chaos of billions of minds, each adding their own unique note to reality's song. The battle that followed defied traditional description. It was fought not just in physical space, but across quantum fields, in realms of pure consciousness where the boundaries between species and even reality itself became fluid. The parasites' rigid patterns of control met the flowing, adaptive harmony of awakened minds and found themselves transformed. Crystal ships began to change as their quantum fields resonated with new frequencies. The corrupted technology remembered its original purpose, not to control, but to connect. One by one, the parasites' hold on their stolen power began to break. At the heart of the conflict, Sarah led a final push toward the control node. With her were representatives of every allied species, their consciousness linked in ways that transcended physical form. They weren't just fighting the parasites. They were showing the galaxy a new way of existing. The control node lashed out with the desperate fury of a dying empire, trying to impose its pattern of perfect order one last time. But Sarah and her allies had learned to sing with reality itself, and against that harmony, even the most powerful cage of crystal could not stand. Reality shuddered as the node's quantum field collapsed, not in destruction but in transformation. The crystal technology, freed from millennia of corruption, began to resonate with its true purpose. Across the galaxy, on countless worlds, the parasite's perfect order began to crack, allowing the light of free consciousness to shine through. In the aftermath, as humanity and their allies began the long process of healing worlds, scared by crystalline conversion, Sarah stood on the observation deck where her journey had begun. The crystal structures still stood, but now they shimmered with new purpose, not as tools of control, but as bridges between consciousness, between species, between different ways of experiencing reality. "What happens now?" Rodriguez asked, standing beside her. Sarah watched as a group of newly awakened humans worked with Sci-Fi scientists, their quantum-touched minds exploring possibilities that neither species. Instead, they were about to face something they'd never encountered before, a species that could think outside their quantum control matrix, that could adapt and fight back. "All units, battle stations," he ordered, "and broadcast this on all frequencies. Let them hear us. We know what you are. We've seen the ruins of your victims. We are not afraid of false gods. Humanity will not submit to your order. We will remain free, and we will show other species the truth about you." The crystal ships entered weapons range, their surfaces shifting with impossible geometries. But this time, humanity was ready. This time, they knew they weren't facing deities, but thieves who could be beaten. And as the first shots were fired, Rodriguez smiled grimly. The real war for humanity's future, and the future of all enslaved species, was about to begin. Resistance rising. Captain Maya Patel crouched in the shadows of a crystalline archway, watching the procession of transformed beings move through the streets of what had once been Singapore. 3 months had passed since the initial invasion, and while humanity had successfully defended many of its major population centers, some had fallen to the enemy's quantum conversion technology. The converted humans moved with an unnatural grace, their skin taking on a faint crystalline sheen. But Maya's trained eye caught something crucial: micro-expressions of resistance, tiny moments when the original human consciousness fought against the parasitic control. The enemy's hold wasn't absolute. "Ghost lead to Shadow Team," she whispered into her neural comm, a new technology developed to avoid quantum detection. "Target located. Initiating Operation Prometheus." Her team's acknowledgments came as brief neural pulses. They'd learned early on that the crystal entities could detect and corrupt any traditional communication technology. But human thought patterns, especially when enhanced by Dr. Chen's breakthrough neural tech, remained invisible to their sensors. Maya checked her quantum disruptor, a hybrid weapon that combined human neural patterns with salvaged crystal technology. The science team called it consciousness-guided quantum manipulation. She called it fighting fire with fire. Movement caught her eye, but not from the converted humans. Something was emerging from a side street, moving with a distinctly non-human gait. Maya's grip tightened on her weapon, but then she saw the recognition signal: 3 quick pulses of bioluminescence. The Sci-Fi, their newest allies. The alien resistance fighter slipped into the shadows beside her, its tentacled form shifting colors to match the crystalline surface. "The deep scan is complete, Captain," it communicated directly into her mind. "The quantum control node is beneath the central tower, as we suspected. But we found something else: survivors from other worlds, held in stasis. They're being processed." Maya's jaw clenched. Every discovery about their enemy revealed new horrors. The parasites weren't just converting current populations. They were preserving specimens from countless civilizations, studying them to perfect their control techniques. "Time to shut them down," she replied through their neural link. "Is your team in position?" "Yes. The Kelmar ships are in orbit, cloaked and ready. But Captain..." The Xathri's skin rippled with concern patterns. "The human prisoners we detected. The conversion process is nearly complete." Maya had made this choice before, and it never got easier. "We'll save who we can, but the node has to be destroyed, no matter the cost." Humanity learned that lesson in Mumbai. The memory of Mumbai's fall still haunted her. They'd hesitated, trying to save everyone, and the crystal infection had spread exponentially. Now the entire city was a quantum conversion center, its people transformed into processing units for the parasite's vast network. Shadow Team, prepare for synchronized strike, Maya commanded. Remember, they'll detect us the moment we breach the quantum field. We'll have exactly 3.7 minutes before their reinforcements arrive from orbit. She watched her HUD as team confirmations came in. Humans, Sathri, and Kelmar, 3 species united against the parasite's vision of perfect order. The Sathri had been fighting a losing war for decades before humanity's resistance techniques gave them hope. The Kelmar had been in hiding, using their natural phase-shifting abilities to avoid detection. Prometheus Protocol activate in 3, 2, 1. Maya triggered her quantum disruptor, and reality seemed to shiver around her. The hybrid weapon fired a beam of pure consciousness-guided energy, cutting through the crystal structure's quantum field like a hot knife through butter. Similar beams lanced out from multiple positions as her team engaged. The reaction was immediate. The converted humans froze, their crystalline sheen flickering as the control signal weakened. From orbit, Kelmar ships decloaked and began their attack runs, their phase-shifted weapons targeting the parasite's defense systems. Maya charged forward, her neural enhancers processing battlefield data faster than any AI could. She'd learned early in the resistance that human intuition, properly augmented, was far more effective than pure machine logic against the crystal entities. The battle that followed was chaos orchestrated with surgical precision. Shadow Team fought their way down to the control node, losing good people but inflicting unprecedented damage on the enemy systems. The Xathri's bioweapons proved devastatingly effective against crystal structures, while Kelmar phase tech kept the orbital defenses occupied. In the central chamber, Maya faced the node's guardian, a fully converted human who had once been a political leader. Its crystalline form was beautiful and horrifying, a glimpse of the perfection the parasites offered. Your resistance is entropy, it spoke with many voices. Join us in eternal order. Maya's response was to trigger the quantum bomb, a device that turned the parasite's own technology against them, powered by the pure chaos of human consciousness. We choose our own path. The explosion collapsed the quantum field controlling the entire sector. As Maya's team evacuated with the survivors they'd managed to save, she watched the crystal structures begin to crack and fade. It wasn't a final victory, but it was proof that the parasites could be beaten. Later, in the Resistance's hidden base, Maya reviewed the data they'd recovered. Each victory revealed more about their enemies' weaknesses, and more importantly, about the true potential of human consciousness when combined with alien technologies and perspectives. The parasites thought they could perfect the galaxy by forcing every species into their crystalline order. She told her assembled team, human, Xathri, and Kelmar alike. Instead, they've united us in ways they never imagined possible. And together, we're going to take back our worlds, one node at a time. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion, Maya felt real hope. Humanity had not only survived, but had found its place among the stars, not as conquered subjects, but as leaders in a fight for freedom that spanned the galaxy. The power within. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in her underground laboratory, surrounded by holographic displays of human neural patterns. The crystalline samples recovered from Singapore pulsed with an eerie light, their quantum fields attempting to interface with nearby electronics. But Sarah's attention was fixed on something far more fascinating: the brain scans of resistance fighters who had successfully interfaced with hybrid weapons. Run the comparison again, she instructed her team. Focus on the theta wave patterns during quantum field interaction. The holographic display shifted, revealing complex wave interactions between human consciousness and crystal technology. What she saw confirmed her wildest theories. Human minds weren't just resistant to the parasite's control, they were actively reshaping the quantum fields around them. Dr. Chen, her assistant, burst into the lab. The Xathri delegates are here. They say it's urgent. Sarah hurried to the conference room, where 3 Xathri scientists waited, their skin flickering with patterns of extreme agitation. The lead scientist, whom she knew as First Light Breaking, immediately projected its thoughts. "We've decoded more of the ancient ruins data," it communicated. "The original creators of the crystal technology. They were like you. Their consciousness could directly manipulate quantum fields." Sarah's heart raced. "Show me." The Xathri shared their findings through the neural interface. Ancient glyphs and equations filled her mind, describing a civilization that had achieved something remarkable. True quantum consciousness. But they had vanished, leaving only their technology behind, technology that the parasites had corrupted into a tool of control. "That's why they fear us," Sarah realized. "We have the same potential. We're not just resistant to their control. We could learn to wield the crystal technology as it was meant to be used." An alarm blared through the facility. "Dr. Chen to Command Center." Commander Rodriguez's voice came through the neural comm. "We're detecting massive quantum fluctuations. Something big is coming." In the command center, the tactical display showed a terrifying sight. Hundreds of crystal ships were emerging from quantum space, led by something new, a massive crystalline structure that seemed to bend reality around it. "They've created a quantum nexus," Sarah breathed. "They're trying to force a massive conversion event." Rodriguez's face was grim. "How long do we have?" "Hours, maybe less. That thing is powerful enough to rewrite the quantum fields of an entire continent." Sarah's mind raced through possibilities. But this is also an opportunity. They're desperate. They know what we're becoming. She turned to the Xathri scientists. "The ruins you found. Did they include any information about how the original creators achieved quantum consciousness?" First Light Breaking's skin rippled with affirmation patterns. "Fragments. They developed their abilities through a process they called quantum resonance awakening, but the parasites destroyed most of the data." Sarah pulled up her latest research. "Maybe they didn't destroy enough. Look at these neural patterns from our most successful resistance fighters. They're already beginning to manifest similar abilities. We don't need to replicate the ancient process. We just need to accelerate what's already happening naturally." For the next few hours, Sarah worked frantically with her human and alien colleagues, combining insights from the ruins with their understanding of human neural plasticity. The enemy nexus drew closer, its quantum field already affecting weather patterns across the hemisphere. "It's ready," she finally announced, holding up a neural enhancer unlike anything they'd built before. "But it's completely untested. Whoever uses it will be the first to attempt true quantum consciousness since the ancient creators." Rodriguez stepped forward. "I'll do it." "No," Sarah shook her head. "It has to be me. I understand the theory, the risks, and more importantly, I've spent more time studying the crystal technology than anyone else. I know how it thinks." There was no time for lengthy debates. The Nexus had reached the upper atmosphere, its quantum field already beginning to affect electronic systems worldwide. Sarah attached the enhancer to her neural implant, took a deep breath, and activated it. The world changed. Suddenly, Sarah could see reality as it truly was, not just matter and energy, but an infinite dance of quantum possibilities. The crystal technology wasn't just machinery. It was a language, a way of speaking to the fundamental forces of the universe, and now she could speak it too. She reached out with her mind, not fighting the quantum fields but joining their dance, understanding them in ways the parasites never could. The crystal nexus loomed above, trying to impose its rigid order on the chaotic beauty of human consciousness. But Sarah saw its flaw. The parasites understood the technology's mechanics, but not its heart. Through her neural link, she shared what she was experiencing with the resistance network. Everyone with a neural enhancer, listen carefully. The crystals aren't tools of control. They're instruments of creation. Don't fight them. Dance with them. All across the globe, resistance fighters began to understand. Their hybrid weapons stopped trying to disrupt the crystal technology and started harmonizing with it instead. The parasites had spent millennia forcing the crystals to impose order. Humanity, in its beautiful chaos, would remind them how to sing. Sarah rose from her chair, her consciousness extending far beyond her physical form. She could feel other humans joining her in the quantum dance, their minds linking together in ways that transcended traditional physics. The parasites had tried to make the crystal technology a cage. Instead, it had become a key, unlocking humanity's true potential. The Nexus responded with overwhelming force, trying to overwhelm their awakening consciousness with brute quantum manipulation. But it was too late. Humanity had found its voice in the quantum chorus, and they were no longer alone. The Xathri added their bioresonance, the Kelmar their phase harmonics, each species contributing its unique note to a symphony of resistance. As Sarah conducted this impossible orchestra, she finally understood why the parasites had feared humanity so much. They had spent eons trying to perfect the galaxy through control and conformity. But true perfection, like true consciousness, emerged from harmony between different voices, from the beautiful chaos of free will. The battle that followed would be remembered not as a clash of weapons, but as a revolution in the very fabric of reality. The day humanity showed the galaxy that consciousness could not be contained, only awakened. Breaking chains. The crystalline fleet hung in high orbit above Earth, their quantum fields rippling with impossible energies. But something had changed. Where once these ships struck fear into the hearts of countless civilizations, now they faced an unprecedented resistance. Humanity had not only survived their onslaught, but had evolved beyond anything the parasites had encountered in millennia of conquest. Dr. Sarah Chen, her consciousness now existing partially in quantum space, coordinated with resistance forces worldwide. Through the neural network, she could feel thousands of human minds awakening to their new potential, each one adding their unique, something that even these godlike beings couldn't easily overcome. As the quantum drive engaged and space twisted around them, Sarah looked one last time at the crystalline ships. They had come seeking knowledge and peaceful contact, but they had found something else. Humanity's first true test among the stars. And though they were retreating now, she knew this was just the beginning. The self-proclaimed gods had revealed themselves, but they had also revealed a weakness. Humanity would return, and next time, they would be ready. The real war, a war for the right to exist as they were, uncontrolled and free, was just beginning. The hidden truth. Commander James Rodriguez stood in the war room of the Lunar Defense Base, studying the holographic display of known alien activity across the galaxy. 6 months had passed since the Horizon's emergency return, and humanity had been preparing for war ever since. But something about the enemy's pattern of expansion didn't make sense to him. "Play it again," he ordered the AI assistant. "Show me the last 1,000 years of their territorial growth, based on the data we recovered from the Horizon's encounter." The hologram shifted, displaying the spread of crystalline structures across hundreds of star systems. But this time, Rodriguez noticed something he'd missed before. "Stop. Enhance Sector 7. The image zoomed in on a cluster of stars where the crystal formations had first appeared. What caught his attention wasn't the structures themselves, but the ruins around them, remnants of civilizations that had existed before the gods arrived. "Cross-reference these architectural patterns with our xenorchaeological database," he commanded. The results made his blood run cold. The ruins showed signs of advanced technology, possibly even more sophisticated than the crystalline structures that now dominated those worlds. His quantum comm chimed. "Commander, Dr. Chen is requesting an immediate conference. She says it's about the neural resistance patterns. Put her through." Sarah's hologram appeared, her expression urgent. "James, we've made a breakthrough. Those energy patterns they use to attack our ships, they're not just weapons. They're tools of reconstruction. They're literally rewriting reality at the quantum level." Rodriguez's mind raced, connecting the dots. "The ruins I've been studying. Sarah, I don't think these beings created the crystal technology. I think they found it, and they're using it to reshape other civilizations. Exactly. Sarah's hologram nodded vigorously. The crystal structures aren't their creation. They're more like a viral infection. These gods are spreading it across the galaxy, using it to impose their version of order. But here's the key. Human consciousness somehow exists partially outside their quantum manipulation field. A warning klaxon interrupted their discussion. Multiple quantum signatures detected. The base AI announced. Crystal ships entering the solar system. Rodriguez squared his shoulders. How long until they reach Earth? 48 hours at current velocity. He turned back to Sarah's hologram. Whatever you've discovered about our neural resistance, we need to weaponize it fast, because I don't think these beings are gods at all. They're parasites, using stolen technology to enslave other species, and they're afraid of us because we can resist them. Already on it, Sarah replied. But James, there's more. Those ruins you found, I think they might be left by the original creators of the crystal technology. If we can decode their data, we might find a way to turn it against our enemies. Rodriguez finished. But first we need to survive the coming attack. He pulled up the Earth's defense grid. Humanity had worked frantically to prepare, but would it be enough? Commander, his tactical officer called out. We're detecting quantum fluctuations from the crystal ships, different from anything we've seen before. They're targeting civilian population centers. Rodriguez's jaw tightened. They're not trying to destroy us. They want to convert us, like they did to those other civilizations. Make us part of their perfect order. He opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. This is Commander Rodriguez. We need to evacuate all major cities immediately, and get me everything we have on quantum shielding technology. Over the next 48 hours, humanity prepared for its greatest test. Rodriguez coordinated with Sarah's team, combining their discoveries about neural resistance with his insights about the enemy's true nature. They weren't facing gods. They were facing thieves who had stolen power they didn't fully understand, parasites who feared humanity's potential to resist them. As the crystal ships approached Earth orbit, Rodriguez watched the defense preparations with grim determination. The enemy thought they were coming to impose their order on yet another primitive. Could have imagined alone. In orbit, ships of all allied species moved in harmony, their different technologies creating something greater than the sum of their parts. Now we build something new, she answered. The parasites tried to perfect the galaxy by forcing everything into a single pattern. We'll show them true perfection, a galaxy where every consciousness is free to find its own resonance, where difference is strength and chaos is beautiful. The crystal technology hummed around them, no longer a cage, but a key, unlocking potentials that had lain dormant since the dawn of consciousness itself. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, it had helped spark a revolution in the very nature of reality. The age of imposed order was over. The symphony of free consciousness was just beginning. And somewhere, in the quantum fields that connected all things, the original creators of the crystal technology watched as their greatest work fulfilled its true purpose at last, not to control the galaxy, but to help it wake up and sing.